Hello, my name is Virgil Dismeyer from SCORE, Minneapolis. Today we are going to discuss a branding and corporate identity. We are fortunate to have a local expert, Holly Anderson. She will now take over and introduce herself.
Thank you, Virgil, and thank you all for watching this webinar. I have over 30 years of experience in marketing, branding, public relations, website development, and so on. I started Veritas Marketing in 2001 with the help of SCORE, so I'm still a SCORE client. Veritas Marketing is an integrated marketing agency. Over my career, I have worked with a wide range of businesses, some small and some large. Some of those include General Mills, Jennie-O Foods, Recon Wall Systems, Woodcraft Design, H.B. Fuller, and many, many others. This is our agenda today. We're going to review why branding is important for every business, what branding is, including the company name and logo, messages, and style. We're also going to discuss developing a brand strategy, which is kind of an important thing to do before you start actually digging into the whole thing. And what makes a good company name, logo development, the importance of branding your products and services if you have your own products or if you have a unique service, brand look and feel or corporate identity, messages including the selling proposition, usually that's a uniqueness for your business, and a tagline. And at the very, very end of this, we'll talk about documenting with a standards guide, and that's important for even small businesses because there's still, even people in your office that'll be using your branding, and you want to make sure that it matches across everything. Go ahead, Virgil. Yep. So why brand? Branding is more than just a name or a logo. It's important for every business, whether you're a retail store or an online store or a business-to-business company. And that's true also for large and small businesses. It's really your brand. Your brand is really the promise that you make to your customers. It tells them what to expect from your products or services and your company. It tells them what you offer and why it's different from your competitors. It communicates what your company is and, just as importantly, what you want to be. It's really the personality of your company, your products, and your services. What is branding? In addition to the company name and logo, your brand includes selling messages, unique selling proposition, tagline, and positioning statement. And we'll get into a little bit more detail on that later. Branding is also the look and visual theme that is used on everything. The look and theme includes primary and secondary colors, fonts, photograph, and image style used on your website, signage, PowerPoint, point of purchase displays, email signatures, literature, and even your social media channels. What is branding? Branding is your company's personality or style. It should be used consistently throughout every part of your business. I tell customers that as soon as you start getting tired of your look and your brand, that people are just starting to remember it. And that's important. That's the whole point. You want them to remember it. You want to make an impression. Branding should be conveyed in the way that the telephone is answered or even how customers are greeted if you're a store that gets customers. Your store environment or atmosphere should also communicate your brand. And that's even true for business to business. When you walk into a company, you can see something, you kind of get a feel for who they are when you walk in. And it's certainly especially important for restaurants and retail businesses. How will your employees dress to communicate that brand? What's your customer service style? Apple, for example, does a really good job in their stores. When you walk in, it's just so quick and so no nonsense that it really, just the way that they approach a customer really communicates their brand. If you're driving vehicles around, of course, your brand gets put on your vehicles as well. Really everything that you do. Brand strategy, I encourage everybody to take a look at this and kind of do it before you dig into your branding, but also to take a look at it over time because things change. And it's important to look outside the box and make sure that you're still hitting the mark. We start brand strategy by taking a look at your target audience. And of course, customers are an obvious target audience, but it's important to do some research. The more you know about your customer, the better. It may even be helpful to conduct some telephone interviews. We actually have a client that recently conducted several telephone interviews and recorded them. And it really helped us structure their positioning statement, their tagline, because it allowed us to figure out exactly what it is that customer was looking for. It allowed us to really kind of get into their head. Is there research available? What are the demographics of your target audience? And that could be age, likes, income level. In the case of B2B, sometimes, it's a buying group. It's not just one person. That could be true even, if you're selling to consumers. So, really take a look at what that personality is or the persona of that customer. What are they looking for? What's important to them when they're making a buying decision and that they're buying what you sell? Why would they want to switch or try something new? What goes into their buying decision? And again, kind of, customer interviews kind of helps with that as well. I mean, it's not always price. Sometimes it's quality. Sometimes it's a specific feature that you offer. Sometimes it's no-nonsense customer service. And of course, your target audience isn't just your customers. It's also influencers such as dealers, distributors, other retailers, people that are a source for referrals, bankers, employees, and vendors. Also included with your brand strategy, you should be taking a look at who you are. Are you creative? Are you informal? Are you honest, fun, reliable, easy to work with? There's certainly been, an emphasis on more casual, like in the beer industry. We have a lot of microbreweries here in Minnesota, and they're certainly more fun and casual, but that doesn't work if you're, kind of a serious business. So really put some thought into what that tone is going to be. Are you the high-cost, high-quality provider within your competitive set, or are you the low-cost, low-quality provider? That's important to pinpoint and against your competitors, because you don't want to look too expensive if you're the low-cost provider. You want to really communicate that price-to-value equation with your brand. What do you offer and what makes it different? Why are you unique? If you don't know the answer to that, you should conduct some competitive analysis, some competitive research. And actually, I encourage everybody to do that anyways on an ongoing basis. I mean, it makes sense to take a look at what competitors are doing at the minimum annually. What are their selling propositions? What does their logo look like? How are you different? Even doing an analysis of what services or products they offer versus what services and products you offer. Sometimes we even secret shop the competitor and find out how their customer service process works, how their sales process works. Were they quick to respond to your needs? All of that stuff goes into branding. How will your product or service be sold? This includes whether you have a distribution channel like outside representatives, or if you have a brick and mortar or online store. How will you communicate? What is the tone of your brand? And in what channels are you going to communicate to your customers and your audience? Where are they looking that they can find you? Where will you invest your time and resources? And of course, as any business owner knows, time is an extremely valuable resource. Company name. Of course, this is extremely important. It's not that easy to come up with a company name. Many hire a professional for an outside point of view. It should communicate your style, your uniqueness, your vision. It should be easy to remember, pronounce, and spell. Avoid acronyms or abbreviations. They are not that memorable. We've had a few companies come to us with acronyms, and we've had to rename their product or service, and they actually saw an increase in sales once that renaming process happened. It's much easier to do it right the first time. Keep in mind there are exceptions to every rule, such as 3M. That's an abbreviation, and it's memorable. So how do you come up with a company name? Start with the basic information. We fill out what's called a creative blueprint, and some of the things that are on that are in your brand strategy, and that includes your objective, your target audience, current beliefs, desired beliefs, primary message, points of uniqueness, and competitor information. We usually get like a room full of people together to throw ideas against the wall, and that's where that basic information is really important, so that everybody kind of knows, the direction that you want to hit. The rule that we have for brainstorming sessions is that there are no bad ideas. Of course, ideas beget ideas, so even if it's a bad idea, it might beget a good idea. Here are a few examples of some company names. 7-Eleven changed from U-Totem in 1946 when their new hours became 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Reebok is a stylized version of Reebok with an H, which is an African antelope. Of course, that sounds pretty fast, doesn't it? Lego came from the Danish word, and I'm probably not going to say this right because I don't speak Danish, but legat, which means play well. Pepsi was named after a digestive enzyme, pepsin. Nabisco was a shortened version of National Biscuit Company. When you're coming up with your names and maybe you narrow your list down, it's important to consider the play value of a name, because sometimes competitors do funny things with your company name. We've seen a client actually name their product Klondike. It was basically a knockoff of a competitor's product. And again, that brand name was Klondike. That competitor dubbed it Klondike. One of our competitors is affectionately rebranded Parasite, which is a play off of their company name. So, think about all the ways that somebody could twist whatever your name is, and make sure it makes sense to you. Consider trademarking your company name. It can be a challenge to trademark a company name. Some company names are common words and cannot be trademarked, and others are already taken. Have a backup name ready. We usually suggest to clients that they have at least 3 on their top 3 pick list, and then of course they start with the top one for trademarking. When you're coming up with names, consider different spellings and using more than one word. That's helpful for that trademark process. One small retail store was days from their grand opening. This shows the importance of taking a look at trademarking. Unfortunately, this retail store, right before they opened, received a letter from an attorney informing them that they're of a trademark violation. Their name was too similar to an established online brand. Everything needed to be rebranded. It delayed the opening and costs a lot of extra money to replace the logo on everything, including their signage and their website. After you've got your company name figured out, you're going to take a look at logos. Of course, your logo is the foundation for your business. We recommend that you hire a professional. You'll probably be using that logo for the life of your business. Of course, some companies upgrade their logo over time, but you're still setting the foundation for your brand moving forward. A logo is a unique signature or mark, basically your company's fingerprint. A study in 2010 showed that kids too young to read actually learned about the brand environment. Preschoolers often knew exactly which logo corresponded with which brand, including McDonald's Golden Arches. A logo can include a symbol that eventually may be recognized without the company name, such as the Nike swoosh. A logo can be a word mark or logo type. For example, Google's Doodle. And of course, there's changes periodically, and that's kind of part of their brand. It makes it really fun. They have a basic one, and then they play with it. Your logo should be unique. It should be easy to use in a variety of ways, whether it be really small on a pen or very large on a sign or on the internet or even reversed out of a color. Often the most memorable logos are very clean and simple, yet stylized and unique. And we've talked a little bit about a couple of those, like McDonald's Golden Arches and the Nike swoosh, but you can also think about the Target logo, which is very clean and simple, the Apple logo, and Coca-Cola. Product and service brands. Your branding may also extend to products and services that you sell. If you develop your own product, you may want to consider a strategy for naming those products. This includes how it will fit into the overall company brand. Products and services should communicate their uniqueness. Services often benefit from a brand name as well. If you provide a service that is different, consider branding it. Branding a service makes it more tangible. It makes it easier to sell. It makes it easier to market. And it gives your customers something to ask for by name. Many companies have a theme for their product and service brands, such as Apple is a good example. They put I in front of many of their brand names: iTunes, iPad, iPhone. Some companies just use model numbers, kind of like company names that are acronyms. Those aren't memorable and they're harder to market. Remember that a product or service brand is different than your company name. You may have one product now, but you may have more later. We've seen many companies that have marketed their signature product that they started their business with, and they didn't really use their company name. So the website, URL, everything revolved around that product brand as opposed to their company. And then lo and behold, several years down the road, they come up with a new product and nobody knows who the company is. So then you have to kind of reinforce the company along the way, brought to you by the makers of blah, 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 to get the customers familiar with the company. So, if you only have one product or one service, consider making sure that people know the company name as well as whatever that brand for your product or service is. Brand look and feel. Have you noticed that many websites are starting to look alike? Sure, they look great. They have a large image at the top and 3 or 4 feature boxes at the bottom. Unfortunately, there's nothing memorable about them. This makes them unforgettable. Website templates have kind of driven that trend. It's really no different than two products that are on a shelf. Let's just say that the packages look so similar that a customer isn't really sure which one they're picking up the next time they go in to repurchase. You should be unique even with your website. Having a unique look and feel makes your company products and services unforgettable. Be unforgettable. That said, as a new business owner, there's often a need to save funds. You can still get a great looking website using a template and still have a unique brand look by adding some custom graphics that make a statement. Some of the things that go into making a corporate identity or corporate look unforgettable include color. A few interesting facts here. 72% of the top brand logos use blue and or red. There's been a few studies about why that is. One of the reasons is that people that are red-green colorblind see blue the best. Of course, that doesn't explain why red is one of the most popular colors. 95% of the top brand logos use 1 or 2 colors. Of course, back in the day before digital printing was a lot more cost-effective when you only printed 1 or 2 colors. Of course, that's no longer true. Only 5% use more than 2 colors. With the internet these days, there's no limit to the number of colors that you can use with your logo. Pick colors that best fit your brand personality. Yellow conveys warmth, optimism, and clarity. Oranges are cheerful, friendly, and confident. Red is bold, youthful, and exciting. Purples are regal, creative, and wise. Blues communicate trust, dependability, and strength. Greens are peaceful, communicate growth and sustainability. Grays are balanced, neutral, and calming. Dare to be different. You don't have to just have 1 color. You can have a primary and a secondary, and even 3 colors. We came up with a new branding for a company that had been in business for probably 50 years, and they really didn't have a corporate look that was established, believe it or not. We went with purple with their corporate identity, and I'll tell you, when they went to a trade show, you could see that booth from across the room because everybody else's booths were red and blue. Brand look and feel. Fonts are just as important as color. Standard computer fonts have kind of diminished the art of typography. Select fonts, for your headline, for your secondary headlines, and for your body text. Typography also includes line spacing and letter spacing. Often we also spec a computer font as well as an alternative, because if you're using Microsoft Word, it won't have Palantino, for example. So Times might be the alternative when they're using Word. Part of your look and feel also establishes the graphic elements, the photography and image style, and the use of white space, as well as layout. Some companies go for a very clean look and use a lot of white space, and that's part of their brand. You can see here that these companies have a look all the way across everything that they have here. The key is consistency. Messages. What and how you communicate is critical to success. Develop a positioning statement or tagline that communicates what you do and why you are different. And that can actually be pretty challenging. We come up with positioning statements and taglines on a fairly regular basis. It takes some time to come up with just the right combination of words, and it should be short. What are your primary and secondary messages? What's your sales message going to be? Talk to your target audience and not at them. They want to know why they should care, not who you are. Customer interviews during the brand strategy process can help form messages that really talk to your target audience as opposed to at them. What is the tone or style of your message? Are you creative, confident, formal, scientific, fun? There's some taglines up here like Nike, Just Do It, Apple, Think Different. Those are all very short and very memorable and definitely position those companies as something different. Lay's, Bet You Can't Eat Just One. General Electric, Imagination at Work. Standards guide. After you have everything all put together, you know what your colors are going to be, you have your logo, you have your layouts, your website's probably already been designed, your brochures, whatever. You should develop a brand guideline. And it could initially be fairly simple and just really outline what the color choices are, what the logo is, how they can and cannot use the logo. Does there need to be a certain amount of space all the way around the logo on the layout? This branding guide really helps guide everyone else that's going to be using your brand so that it is consistent, and that includes employees. We run into it regularly where the company will have like a corporate PowerPoint presentation and the sales guys will go off and do their own thing, and it looks nothing like the rest of the company. If they have a corporate standards guide, they're more apt to follow it. Thank you for your interest in this branding webinar. Feel free to contact me to discuss your branding and marketing needs. My web address is Veritas, Veritas, marketing.com. Virgil, back to you.
Okay, Holly. Thank you so much for a very important topic as our companies try to climb to the top of the peak. In addition to what you've heard here, we encourage you to seek counseling at your local SCORE Minnesota chapter. They offer many services that you will find on their individual websites. They know the local business community and can offer that insight and other experience to you. If you are from outside Minnesota, we urge you to establish a relationship with your local chapter in other parts of the country. And as a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping you start or grow a business, we must make these disclosures. We rely on various experts to present a topic, and the content is strictly for your education. SCORE Minnesota, nor any of its chapters, endorse any specific vendor. Finally, any screenshots of websites and so forth are provided only for illustration and not as a statement of fact. In closing, we want to thank Veritas Marketing and Holly for providing information on branding and corporate identity. We also want to recognize SPEDCO, whose funding and support make these services possible. With that, good luck and goodbye.